Historical Reconstruction of Arian X. Episode 59. The Fabrication of Buddhism. The fabrication of history begins first with the fabrication of religion. In Hanja, religion as Gongyo is defined as the teaching of the head family, the eldest. Therefore, the groups that currently call themselves religions must prove that they are the eldest of humanity. Around 3897 BC, in the center of the Scythian Aryans in Turkmenistan, Central Asia, the Chenwang of Korean history, who opened the heavens, was the main figure of the original Buddhist sanctuary, the great hero Gautama Siddhartha, the Vairocana Buddha. In other words, 3897 BC marks the founding year of Buddhism. The current reality and substance of Buddhism is that the founder of this religion, the firstborn of humanity, was erased from history, and the history of Buddhism was transplanted into present-day India along with its national name. After the birth of Buddhism, bodhisattvas left Turkmenistan in Central Asia on a path of enlightenment to save the world. The bodhisattva who went to the western region of Europe at this time was called the Mirik Bosal. The bodhisattva who moved from Central Asia to Western Europe is Mirik Bosal. In Sanskrit, he is called Maitreya, in Pali, Metteyya, and in English, he is known by various names such as Messiah, Mithra, Misra, and Miro. According to encyclopedias, Mirik Bosal, Maitreya in Sanskrit, and Metteyya in Pali, is a bodhisattva who is currently a bodhisattva but is believed in Buddhism to appear as a Buddha in the next world. A bodhisattva as a future savior. According to Buddhist doctrine, he was prophesied to be the Buddha who will save all sentient beings who could not be saved by Gautama Buddha under the Yonghwa tree. The Pali word Metteyya is linguistically connected to Messiah. Its meaning is the future savior. What does this mean? Is this not the Messiah of present-day Christianity? The meaning is also the same, savior. Aha! The Catholic papacy in Europe, in its true substance, referred to the Buddhist Mirik Bosal papacy. Now you will understand why I described the Christian cross as Western Buddhism. The one called Mirik Bosal in Buddhism is called the Messiah in modern Christianity. You have now witnessed the true nature of how present-day religions have been fabricated. The religion that currently venerates the Messiah is called Christ. I have stated that the Chris in this context is the exact same word as the Kori in Korea. The Catho in the European religion of Catholicism is also the Kitai, or Carter, of the Scythians from Turkmenistan, Central Asia. The Cat in the Spanish word for cathedral, catedral, is said to be Carter, the Scythian. Is there even a shred of truth left for us? The entire world was, in fact, Buddhist. The fabrication of Buddhism. The most fundamental aspect of historical fabrication is the fabrication of Buddhism. In a way, our search for the true state of world history is also a process of finding the true state of Buddhism, the bright teaching. Let's briefly trace how the historical fabricators manipulated Buddhism and what its true reality was. First, I will quote the entry for Buddhism from a dictionary. Daum Dictionary's entry on Buddhism. A religion founded by Sakyamuni in India around the 5th century BC and spread to various Eastern countries. Its ultimate ideal is to escape the suffering and agony of this world and attain enlightenment to become a Buddha. According to its doctrines, it is divided into Mahayana or Northern Buddhism and Hinayana or Southern Buddhism, and it has had an absolute influence on Eastern culture. The Daum Dictionary states that Buddhism began in the 5th century BC. This creates a huge time gap with the actual date of 3897 BC. Wikipedia's entry on Buddhism. Buddhism, Bodhgyo, is a religion that was started in India around the 6th century BC by Gautama Buddha, Sakyamuni. Buddhism is the teaching spread by Gautama Buddha and also a religion that teaches one to realize the truth and become a Buddha. Wikipedia states that Buddhism began in the 6th century BC. This also creates a huge time gap with the actual date of 3897 BC. Britannica's entry on Buddhism. A religion founded in northeastern India from the late 6th century to the early 4th century BC. The first thing that stands out is the manipulation of the timeline of the Buddha, the birth of Buddhism, with confusing dates. the 5th century BC in the Korean dictionary, the 6th century BC in Wikipedia, and from the 6th to 4th century BC in Britannica. Why did they so desperately pull down the era of the Buddha by more than 3,000 years? All the stories about Buddhism in these encyclopedias and history books are nothing more than a coat of paint on the consciousness and spirit of humanity, just like the currently damaged Buddhist painting, the Chenjo Yonhodo. The history of the Buddha and the story of Buddhist history are the true reality of the Scythian Arian code, which is the history of the entire world. Forget all the fabricated stories of Buddhism you have learned and studied so far. The true history of all of us Scythian Aryans around the world is the history of the Buddha who firmly established the culture of enlightenment of Buddhism in Turkmenistan, Central Asia, the Scythian Aryans who spread out in all directions to protect it, and the history of the 25 emperors of Chinese history. If you look at the Buddhist painting, all the paintings are painted over, destroyed, and damaged like this. Furthermore, by nailing Jesus to the cross, a symbol of Western Buddhism, in all the cathedrals of Europe, they have fabricated and hidden the true essence of Western Buddhism. If you keep this in mind while studying history, you will be able to see the truth. A method of personal training. I, Arian X, would like to candidly discuss the personal training method I have acquired while uncovering and contemplating history. For the past 12 years, while studying history, I have practiced a training method completely different from existing ones, all by myself. The conventional Buddhist training method, the concept of Zhong from Zen Buddhism, which involves emptying the mind, is a practice where one artificially stops the thoughts and emotions that form in the mind to create a state of emptiness, or no thought. In contrast, the concept of Gyong that I attempted does not artificially suppress the perceptions and thoughts that form in the mind. Instead, it is a state of a full mind where one focuses on these emerging perceptions and thoughts, sets a specific object of contemplation, and actively works to solve the problem. Simply put, when I encountered convoluted arguments in my history studies that seemed impossible to unravel, I did not stop everything and practice the training method of Zhong, which is to empty the mind. Instead, I took all the theories and knowledge that had tangled my thoughts, put them all in my head, and one by one contemplated the essence of each subject. I practiced the active training method of Gyong, concentrating my mind to unravel the tangled threads one by one. This process continues to operate on its own, even in a state of sleep with my eyes closed. The training method of Gyong, which involves thinking to actively solve the object that caused the problem, does not continuously create idle thoughts. Rather, for me, who had been unable to see the core of the problem due to countless idle thoughts, it was a process of untangling and solving the threads one by one. By removing the idle thoughts that had entangled my mind and prevented me from seeing the ultimate answer with a focused spirit, I was able to greet moments of seeing the ultimate answer, the solution to the problem. Can there be enlightenment where there is no thought? If you currently have problems that create idle thoughts and worries, do not try to find peace of mind by forcefully and artificially suppressing them to achieve a state of no thought. Instead, the shortcut to revealing the truth of history was the active training method of Gyong, where you directly confront why these problems are problems for you and how you can solve them to achieve your goals, thereby organizing your mind. Where there is thought, there is enlightenment. And I hope you do not seek that enlightenment outside of yourself, but always find it within yourself. The entity that brings you to enlightenment is not external, but yourselves. Please never lose sight of the fact that the subject of all my actions and all of your actions is not a God outside of you, but you yourselves. In the next episode, I will reveal the unique characteristics of Korean culture that people all over the world have never known. I sincerely hope that you will contact many people and participate in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The heavens and the earth will tremble. The subtitles can be translated into the language of each country, so please make use of them. If there are any issues, please let me know in the comments or via Google Mail. My Google Mail address is arianrealhistory@gmail.com. The YouTube channel addresses are Historical Reconstruction of Arian X or History Restoration of Arian X. Your subscriptions and likes are a representation of your conscience and passion for the truth, so please do not forget them.